Hi guys. Over the past few videos, we've been talking about the process of actually moving to the UK. But today we're taking a few steps back. What type of work visas does the UK offer? What are you eligible for? And how can you get your hands on one? Let's dive right in. Why do you want to move to the UK? The primary reason for most people wanting to move to the UK for work is either to make more money, for a better quality of life for you and your children, to have a better work-life balance, or simply because you want to travel the world. Or is it really because you want to take your dog for long walks in the countryside and make them happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? She's happy. But there are definitely some hurdles you're going to face, and they are mostly going to be in terms of the amount of information available about this and not having the right information. If you don't have all the information you need about getting visas to move to the UK, you're probably going to spend a lot of time in the wrong direction and not going to end up with the results you'd like to see. Which is why I highly recommend you watch till the end of this video to find out the types of visas, how you can be eligible, how much it's going to cost you, and what you need to do in order to get your hands on one of these visas. And also, which visas actually allow you to apply for a PR in the UK. So for starters, do you even need a visa to work in the UK? If you belong to the EU, you do not. But if you belong to India like I do, you do need a visa to work in the UK. I've also attached a link in the description box below for you to check out which countries need visas to work in the UK. If you have a job offer, you can apply for a visa to work in the UK at most 3 months ahead, which means if you have a job offer for a job starting 4 months from now, you've got to wait for a month before you apply for your visa. But if your job offer mentions that your job starts in 2 months from now, you can go ahead and apply for your visa immediately. These are the broad types of visas that the UK offers: visitor visas, work visas, student visas, family visas, settlement visas, and transit visas. Today we're specifically talking about work visas in the UK. Work visas can be further categorized as long-term visas, short-term visas, investor, business development and talent visas, and other work visas. Most of you would be interested in work visas in the UK and specifically long-term work visas. So that's what we're talking about today. Long-term work visas can be categorized as skilled worker visas, which allow you to work for a company sponsoring you in the UK. It was earlier part of the general Tier 2 visa. Health and care worker visas, for all healthcare professionals offered a job with the NHS or an NHS supplier company. Intra-company visas, or ICT, for when you are being transferred within your organization to the UK branch. A Minister of Religion visa, for when you are offered a job within a faith community. And an International Sportsperson visa, for when you are a high-performing sportsperson or a coach and received a job offer to train others for your sport in the UK. Since skilled worker visas and intra-company worker visas are the most important and the most relevant to us, that's what we'll be talking about today. To be eligible for the skilled worker visa, the UK follows a point-based system, and according to that, you need to get 70 points. In order to get those 70 points, you need to have a valid certificate of sponsorship from your employer. You must apply for your visa within 3 months of receiving your certificate of sponsorship. You must also do a job that's on the list of eligible occupations. Visit this link to find out if your job is on that list. You must also be paid the minimum eligible salary required for your job. The minimum salary for the type of work you'll be doing is whichever of the highest of these 3 options, either £25,600 a year or £10.10 per hour, or the going rate for the type of work you'll be doing. If you don't match the salary requirements in some cases, you can trade a lower salary for a higher educational qualification. For a skilled worker visa, you also have to take the English language test. So I just mentioned the going rate, right? So how do you know how much your role is supposed to make? It's simple. You find out your occupation code by using the link on the screen and enter whatever your role is going to be. For instance, a software engineer or a software architect, and hit enter. It will throw up a bunch of 4-digit codes. Pick the one that's closest to your role. Next, visit this link and check the going rate against the code you have just received for your job role. Now, like I said earlier, there are some situations in which you can be paid a rate that's lower than the threshold. You can be paid between 70% to 90% of the usual going rate if your salary is at least £20,480 per year. In case your job is in a shortage occupation, or you are under 26, studying, or a recent graduate, or in professional training, or if you have a science, technology, engineering, or maths PhD level qualification that's relevant to your job, or if you have a postdoctoral position in science or higher education. So, what's a job shortage occupation? A job shortage occupation is a skilled job where there's a shortage of workers in the UK. You can check if your occupation falls under this by clicking this link. So let's go back to the point system. You are typically offered points against each of these characteristics, and some of these are mandatory, some are tradable, so let's get into it. If you have a job offer by an approved sponsor is a sponsor who is allowed to sponsor a visa for you in the UK, and it's something that companies have to apply for if they don't already have that. So if you have a job offer by an approved sponsor, you get 20 points, and please note that this is mandatory to have. If the job is at the appropriate skill level, which is again mandatory, you get another 20 points. Now, the skill level is typically jobs that are for people who have passed 12th standard and above. Now, remember I mentioned the English test earlier. So once you clear your English test, if you speak English at the required level, that gives you another 10 points. Now, the following points are all tradable. So if you have a salary of £20,480 to £23,039, or at least 80% of the going rate of the profession, you don't get any points. But if you have a salary of £23,040 to £25,599, which is 90% of the going rate, you get 10 points. Or if you have a salary of £25,600 or above, that gives you 20 points. Now, in case you don't match the salary brackets, you can also get points if your job is in the shortage occupation. That gives you 20 points. Or you can have an educational qualification, which is a PhD in a subject relevant to the job you're going to do, which would give you 10 points. Or if you have a PhD in a STEM subject relevant to your job, you get another 20 points. Let me give you an example. Let's take the example of a mechanical engineer. A mechanical engineer has been offered a job in the UK with the salary of £26,750. Now, according to the job codes, the minimum threshold salary for this job is supposed to be £33,400. Now, he has a job offer, which gives him 20 points. And the RQF3 and above, which is basically an A level and above or a 12th standard and above, gives him 20 points. He passed the English test, that gives him 10 points. He gets no points for his salary because it's lower than the going rate. But because there is a shortage occupation for his specific job role, he gets 20 points there, which then overall gives him 70 points, even though he did not meet the criteria of the minimum salary. So we're discussing skill visas until now, but now let's talk about intra-company transfer visas. To be eligible for an intra-company visa, you need to have a certificate of sponsorship from your employer. And again, the same rule of having to apply within 3 months of receiving your certificate of sponsorship. You must have worked for your employer outside the UK. Now, how long you've worked depends on the visa you're applying for and your salary. If you're applying for an ICT and you earn less than £73,900 a year, you must have worked for your employer outside the UK for at least 12 months. If you're applying for an ICT and earning more than £73,900 a year, there's no minimum time for which you needed to have worked for your employer outside the UK. In case you are applying for an ICT graduate trainee visa, you must have worked for your employer for at least 3 months outside the UK. You must also do a job that's on the list of eligible occupations, and you must be paid the minimum eligible salary for your job. So if you're applying for an intra-company transfer visa, you must be paid at least £41,500 or the going rate for your job, whichever is higher. So with a skilled worker visa and an ICT, what's the longest you can stay in the UK? 5 years. So what happens after that? What if you want to stay in the UK for longer? With a skilled worker visa, you can either extend or update your visa to stay in the UK with either your new employer or your existing employer. And if you'd like to stay for longer and indefinitely to remain a PR, you can apply for a PR with a skilled worker visa. It allows you to stay in the UK to work or live for as long as you'd like. However, with an ICT, you can only extend your visa with the same employer that you've already been working with for the same job role. And does this allow you to stay indefinitely in the UK? No. The ICT does not allow you to apply for a PR in the UK. So how much is it going to cost you? The application fees range from £610 to £1,408. If you're applying from outside the UK, which I'm assuming you are if you're from India like me, a visa for up to 3 years costs you £610 per person. And if it's more than 3 years, it costs you £1,220 per person. Now, if your job is on the shortage occupation list, the fee is reduced. The fee for each person then applying is £464 if you're staying for up to 3 years, and £928 if you're staying for more than 3 years. Now, above this, you've also got the health surcharge, which is usually £624 per year. You'll also need to prove that you can support yourself when you arrive in the UK, which means you'll need to have at least £1,270 available in your bank balance. You'll need to prove that you've had this money for 28 days in a row. But if your sponsor specifies that they'll be supporting you for the first month for at least £1,270, you don't have to worry about this point. So the total approximately for one visa, if you're coming from India for about 3 years and you're not on the shortage occupation list, is £2,482. And you'll also need £1,270 in your bank. So how long does it take for your visa to arrive? If you've applied for your visa, it should take you approximately 3 weeks to hear back. But if you'd like an expedited service in case you're in a hurry or there's some urgent situation, you can definitely apply for a priority service, and then you'll get a response on your visa application in 5 working days. Alright, so what should you do next? Well, if I were you, I would spend a good amount of time trying to understand what kind of job opportunities exist in the UK, what are the job roles that I'm looking for, and seeing what the going rate is for those roles. And then cross-referencing it with what typically the UK pays for those roles, and seeing if I meet the threshold or not. Now, I wonder if there was a way where I could get all the information on what the average pay scales were for the UK for different roles. Oh wait, there is. Here it is. Is there a squirrel outside? Can you see squirrel? See that? Squirrel. Squirrel. Squirrel.